Welcome to this episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. I'm Taylor Burton-Edwards, Liturgy Man, your Director of Worship Resources with Discipleship Ministries of the United Methodist Church.
And I'm Victoria Rebeck, Director of Deacon Ministry Development for the United Methodist Board of Higher Education and Ministry.
And this is part 3 of our 3-part series of the work and role of the deacon in worship in the United Methodist Church. This episode focuses on the work and role of the deacon in services of baptism. A word about the rubrics and things that we'll be talking about here in this particular episode. The latest version of the baptismal covenant is located on the Discipleship Ministries website that reflects all of the changes that have happened in our ritual, both since we created the Order of Deacons as its own specific order with a specific call and rolling in the 1990s, and since the baptismal covenant was altered substantially by General Conference in 2008. Your hymnal or book of worship, if it was not printed very recently, may not include those changes. So to see what we're talking about in real life, go to our website at umcdiscipleship.org and look for Baptismal Covenant 1. Victoria.
As we said in our last installment, the roles of deacon and elder are a partnership, and historically, deacons have leadership roles in worship. So elders and pastors, as you lead in the baptismal covenant, it's important that if there is a deacon at your church and available, that you include them in this service. So deacons, what do you do as part of your assisting at the font? Well, you may address the congregation, which is in paragraph 1. You can lead that portion. It's also appropriate to do the portion in paragraph 10, which is pouring the water into the font. There's the place where the elder lays hands on the person, the child, perhaps, who's being baptized, and it's appropriate for you to extend a hand as part of that as well. So, deacons, I want to remind you that your role does not end there, because part of what we do is nurture and form disciples. And of course, the baptism is the beginning of that life of discipleship, and you'll have an important role in continuing to bring people back to those baptismal vows and help them to live them out every day.
And just one more thing I'll add here, and that is kind of extending what we talked about last time with communion. This assisting role is really there not as a hierarchy of elder, pastor versus deacon, but a matter of roles so that the whole of the sacramental celebration goes well. And I'd really want to say, I want to make the case that without a deacon or somebody else helping out the elder, you may find yourselves in a bit of a mess, because there's a lot of things and a lot of people you have to juggle to make a baptismal service go well. There are towels, there's water, there may be oil if you're doing anointing, there's hymnals, there may be candles, there may be baptismal certificates, and the deacon is someone that you can rely on to help get all that organized, keep it organized, and keep things flowing smoothly so that the whole process flows and has the depth and power of meaning that it should. Mm-hmm. Hope this has been helpful. Hope this whole series has been helpful for you and thinking about what the ministry of deacons is. I'll tell you, one of my hopes for the United Methodist Church is that there will be the day when every local congregation has access to the ministry of a deacon. Mm-hmm. It's something that we all need. We all need to be reminded of this connection between church and world, and that our ministry ultimately begins not when we enter worship, but when we are sent forth by those words of the deacon to love and serve God. And so, I hope this has been helpful. Remember, you can always contact me, worship at umcdiscipleship.org, through our UMC Worship Facebook group.
You can reach me at deacons@gbhem.org, Or if you're a deacon or becoming a deacon, you can find us at the UMC Deacons Facebook page.
You can also drop a line on this page, and perhaps your question or comment will become the basis for a future episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. May the peace of the Lord be always with you.
Go forth to serve God and your neighbor.